Well, thank you very much, Alex. Merci beaucoup. C'est un plaisir pour moi, comme le maire de la ville d'Ottawa, de dire bienvenue à votre capitale nationale. Welcome to the nation's capital, home of Mike Duffy and Pam Wallen sometimes. I couldn't resist. Come on. It's a pleasure to welcome you here to this first national conference, and I join the minister and members of Parliament, l'honorable député de Hochelaga, puis Madame Chow, députée pour une circonscription dans la ville de Toronto, to thank Tim and all of the organizers for hosting this conference, and in particular hosting it in the shadow of Parliament Hill in the nation's capital. Au nom de tous mes collègues à la ville d'Ottawa et mes collègues au conseil municipal, merci d'accepter l'invitation de partager les idées, des stratégies avec tous les autres membres de l'Alliance. I want to thank the Alliance and Tim and all of the organizers for putting together what I think is a very, very solid program of speakers, of networking opportunities, of best practices that you can bring back to your own particular community. It's also great as I look around the room to see so many familiar faces that I've had the opportunity of working with, either at the municipal or the provincial level when I was Minister of Housing a few years ago, and I look forward to hearing the results of this particular symposium. Now, homelessness and housing, of course, is an important issue in every major city and even in small rural towns and communities. It's one of the challenges that I have put on my agenda as one of my top priorities. In fact, during the election campaign, I came out with a housing and homelessness strategy that called on the City of Ottawa to increase its investments each and every year by $14 million built into the base budget of our city budget. And while I appreciate the minister's comments, it's not all about money. Unfortunately, you can't do a lot of the things that we need to do without money. That's the plain and simple fact. You need the dollars to provide the social network around the individuals, to physically build the buildings, to repair the buildings, and carry on the administration of these programs. And it's something I care deeply about, and it's one of the factors that keeps me in public service. You know, not having a place to call home, of course, is a terrible thing. So many aspects of our lives evolve around that place we call home. You know, where do most of us want to go after a tough day at the office? We want to go home. Where do we want to go after being on a long or busy out-of-town trip? We want to go home. And where do we go when we're not feeling that well or we're ill? We want to stay home. But sadly, in our country, not everyone has that opportunity to call a place their own home. Now, I was fortunate, as were I'm sure many of you, to have a warm and loving home to call home. I can't even begin to imagine the anguish of a parent who simply cannot provide a home for their child. I haven't experienced that. Some of you have, and you can speak with some experience, but it must be devastating. This is what motivates me to fix the problem, not just talking about it, but putting our money where our mouth is. And one of the things that I believe that can come out of this is that if we develop a pan-national strategy to advocate to all levels of government that this is not a federal issue or a provincial issue or municipal issue, it's all of our issues combined. We need to work together collectively to end homelessness. And it should be safe and affordable housing is the fundamental building block of a creative and a healthy city, a caring city, an inclusive city. Le logement sûr et abordable est le pilier sur lequel peut se bâtir une ville saine, une ville inclusive. I feel privileged to be able to work with my council colleagues, other levels of government, and great local organizations that we have in Ottawa, including our Alliance to End Homelessness, to tackle this problem from a holistic point of view. And as I mentioned, the city is taking action. In May of 2011, our council approved an unprecedented investment of $14 million to address housing and homelessness. This is annual baseline funding that has continued each and every year that our council has been in office. And through collaborative efforts with community partners, the city was also able to leverage an additional $3 million in funding from agencies and 2 Ontario provincial ministries. Now, as a result of this commitment, the lives of more than 3,000 households, representing more than 5,000 individuals, have been improved. And I just want to give you a little bit of a breakdown of some of the statistics, because I meet on a quarterly basis with our housing staff for 2 reasons. One, because I want to get an update on what's going on with the money we're putting into the program. But secondly, it shows the staff that at the political level, I have an interest in this. And it's not one of these things where I make a grand announcement at a press conference and then go away. They understand I have an interest in this file, and I want to see results, and I want to see the progress we're making, and if changes need to take place, I want to know what changes they're recommending. So an 80% decrease in the number of unsheltered people in our city, 130 people in 2008 down to fewer than 25 in 2013. We've seen a decrease of 8%, or 785 households, on the centralized waiting list waiting for subsidized housing. And after years of increases, the number of single people staying in a shelter every night decreased by 75 people in 2012, representing 11% of the total shelter population. At present, there are 34 fewer families in emergency shelters, with 60 less in motels. Now, all of this is great work. The figures are going in the right direction. I'm proud of what we've been able to accomplish as a council. But obviously, there still remains huge challenges, and we can't stop there. There is still a lot of work to be done. Ottawa is still facing several challenges when it comes to housing and homelessness. The supply of affordable and social housing stock does not meet the demand, nor does it meet the design, accessibility, size, and supportive requirements of community. Most of the old stock, as you know, was basically 1- and 2-bedroom apartments at the best. And we now know, with larger families and accessibility needs, we need to readjust those criteria. At the end of 2012, in spite of decreases in the centralized waiting list, there's still many individuals waiting for subsidized housing in our city, and more than 7,000 individuals accessed emergency shelters the same year. Now, to combat these challenges, the City of Ottawa has proposed a 10-year housing and homelessness plan from 2014 to 2024, which commits to eliminating chronic homelessness and to building a city which everyone can claim that they have a safe and affordable home and a roof over their heads. And the plan focuses on 3 priority areas. Everyone has a home, people get the support they need, and we work together. Now, the proposed plan includes a number of specific targets, but its main goal is to eliminate chronic homelessness by 2024. Le plan proposé comprend un certain nombre d'objectifs précis, mais son but premier est d'éliminer d'ici 2024 l'itinérance chronique. This is a lofty goal, but I believe it is achievable if we work together. We have so many committed and exceptional people working within our team at all 3 levels of government, federal, provincial, municipal, as well as our stakeholder and community partners. Now, just yesterday, Gregor Robertson, who is the chair of the Big City Mayor's Caucus, which I'm a part of, and I believe he's your speaker at lunchtime, Gregor and I met, and he had a press conference to launch the Federation of Canadian Municipalities advocacy program on behalf of the Big City Mayor's Caucus called Fixing Canadians' Housing Crunch. Gregor and people like Naheed Nenshi and myself made sure that our last meeting in Vancouver, our #1 topic, as opposed to having a list of a mile long of 50 different topics, was housing. It's the only major substantive issue that we dealt with at the Big City Mayor's Caucus, because each mayor around that table is discovering what you all experience each and every day. The uncertainty about where the money is going to come from the federal government. We're very appreciative of the homelessness dollars that are remaining on the table, but we know that the funding over the next several years and decades is going to go down to 0. And there's going to be a loss of about $1.7 billion into housing programs in every single part of Canada. So Gregor, together with the Big City Mayor's Caucus and the Federation of Canadian Municipalities and their CEO, Brock Carlton, is with us today, have put this on the agenda. The press conference, unfortunately, was overshadowed with other activities on Parliament Hill yesterday, but we're not giving up. We've got packages that have been sent out to every single municipality, asking them to pass resolutions, to contact local members of Parliament, and have a true grassroots advocacy campaign to the federal government that explains the need for dollars in order to meet the lofty goals that we all want to end chronic homelessness in our community. We need the federal government, and we need all provincial governments to come to the table, because, as I said, this is not a federal, provincial, municipal, constitutional squabble. It's about helping some of the most vulnerable people in our society. So what we've tried to do at the local level is put money on the table so that we can't be accused of saying, well, we're just going to the federal government with our hand out. But what we want to do is we want to continue to have the kind of partnership that we've had in years gone by with our colleagues at the federal level, because the federal members of Parliament represent the same people that mayors and councillors and reeves and MPPs do in every corner of this beautiful country. So I want to thank the Alliance for the work they're doing. I urge you to work with us at the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, because the more voices that members of Parliament hear, the more likely they're to listen and ultimately to act to help those people in our community. Alors, merci beaucoup pour votre temps. Thank you very much for the opportunity to give you a brief update on some of the things that we're doing in the City of Ottawa. And thank you for choosing your nation's capital to spend some time. And finally, thank you for the work that you do. It's often not recognized or appreciated, but certainly I can tell you from my experience as a housing minister and as a mayor and as a city councillor, we desperately need this kind of advocacy to keep our feet to the fire, so that at the end of the day, we can help those individuals who don't always have the voice, who don't always have the access to the cameras and the microphones, to help some of the most vulnerable citizens of our city and our country and our province. Merci beaucoup. Thank you.